like a little sound coming now. Perfect. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Icebreakers. Today we talk about CleanTech. We invited 5 startups that are going to pitch 5 minutes. Before we hand over to the interesting part to the startups, I'm quickly going to introduce myself. I'm Clara. I'm working at the Tech Quartier. And I'm also going to introduce a little bit the Tech Quartier. I mean, some of you might not know it already. But for those who don't know what we do, we started 2015 as a co-working space, but now transformed our USP to an innovation brokerage. So we form up with our community, which is still in the heart of our business model, and is divided in our corporate partners, for example, Microsoft, Deutsche Bank, our startups, of course. And we also have investors and universities in our community, also some parts of the government and society. Taking a look at our startups, we have mainly a focus on fintech, but also green tech, and also other categories and industries. And we also not only German-based, so we also have some international startups. And our network is also worldwide. And coming to today's format, it's basically the Icebreaker concept is basically a theme-based concept where we partner up with startups from different industries. Today, it's all about clean tech. And the principle, it's quite simple. So we have 5 startups, 5 pitches, and also a Q&A after each pitch. And so as I said, this session is going to be live streamed on YouTube as well and recorded. After each startup, you're very free to shoot your questions to the presenter and come into contact. So before I hop into the startups that are going to pitch, I will quickly hand over to Mara from Neosfer, which we paired up with for this edition.
Thank you. I'll hand over to Linda because she's actually representing the Impact Festival today.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me? Because I had some issues with my audio. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so also a very warm welcome from my side, a very warm welcome from Neosfer and from the Impact Festival. We are really happy that we're be hosting this event today together with Tech Quartier. And my name is Linda Köpper. I'm one of the co-hosts together with Mara for the Impact Festival, mainly responsible for partnerships and for sales. And we're really happy to be here together with you today, and also happy that we brought in 3 of the startups attending and pitching, Enviria, Magnotherm, and Honeycomb. So looking really forward to your insights and your pitches in a few minutes. And I would like to share just a quick slide, but I think I need to drop you out, Clara.
That's totally fine. I will stop sharing.
Thank you. So I just want to give very quickly a few insights on what we're up to with the Impact Festival 2022. It's again taking place on the 5th and 6th October in Frankfurt-Offenbach. It's our 2-day flagship event of, let's say, the sustainability topic and area that we have within Neosfer. We are on 5,000 square meter exhibition space. With 2 stages and 2 or now even 3 workshop areas. And with these kind of facts and figures, we are Europe's largest event with the specific focus on B2B solutions and with the focus on sustainable innovations. And what we are doing at the event specifically is we're bringing together the key stakeholders that we think are needed to accelerate the sustainable transformation. So the startups, the entrepreneurs, the corporates that are challenged, that need innovations in their corporation, and of course the investors and financial institutions bringing in the monetary resources that are needed. And I would like to emphasize that we are not only like this one time in a year event, but we do a lot of other support and community formats throughout the year for the startups that are at the Impact Festival, but also for our community. For example, we just launched our new podcast season yesterday, so feel free to have a listen in. We did the Impact Challenge with the Tech Quartier already last year, and hopefully in the end of this year again. We have our Impact community that you're automatically a member when you participate at the Impact Festival, but you can also apply on our homepage. We do a lot of talks, icebreaking events, webinars, just like this, in different formats throughout the year. And of course, also as Neosphere, we try to do more impact investments in the future, and also building up our impact platform, which is basically a digital database which ensures kind of like a long-term matchmaking throughout the year between corporates and startups. And just a quick view at our innovation areas, or basically the topics that we are discussing and looking at the Impact Festival. They are derived from the SDGs and from the EU Green Deal. And these are also the topics that we discuss on stage, and also the topics that we'd like to find startups in. So that brings me to kind of like my last words, because we're still looking for startups that are interested in that, think that would be a good fit for them. We are in the last kind of like couple of weeks. I think it's like 4 weeks left to apply for the Impact Festival to be part as an exhibitor. And yeah, we would be really looking forward. If you'd like to come, just apply through the scan here, or just reach out to Mara and me, and we'll support you in the process. And I think therewith, I'll give back to you, Clara, and looking forward to the startup pitches.
Thank you very much, Linda. We're also very happy that we paired up with you for this edition. Okay, then I think we can start with Anea. So we have the co-founder and the founder and CEO Mike Röder already in the call. So without further ado, I will hand over to you, Mike, and the stage is all yours.
Yes, hello everybody. I hope you can hear me, right? And I hope you can see my screen also.
Yes, we can hear you and screen.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for the introduction, Clara. My name is Mike. I'm one of the founders and CEO of Anea. We're a CleanTech startup. We're based in Hamburg and have offices in Lisbon, Portugal as well. We're mainly operating in the renewable energy space. So as you can see, our main vision is to save resources for a more sustainable planet. How do we do this? We generally do this by making machinery or renewables actually more efficient through our predictive maintenance solution that we've developed, which is based on our digital twins that we implement into or for the respective machines. And why do we do this? As you can see here, we have several challenges in the renewable energy sector. So we work mainly with solar, wind, and hydrogen production now. And the problem that we see here in the sector from the last 10 years that we've been working in this sector is that these renewable energy systems are still very expensive to be competitive with other conventional energy sources. So what's happening here is that we have up to 30% of the lifetime cost is caused by unexpected component failures. And the real problem that lays behind it is actually that we do not know the actual health of the assets and the components. So we have a lot of unplanned downtime in these machines. And additionally, we have a lot of underperformance. So the machines don't perform as well as they should. So we lose basically energy that we could produce in up to 30% of the time. So that's why we've developed this Anea platform. It's an all-in-one platform for different energy assets. As I said, wind, solar, and now starting with hydrogen. We started 10 years ago in the renewable energy, in the wind energy sector, and are now leveraging this experience for the other energy assets. We've worked with some of the biggest energy utility companies throughout Europe so far, and are currently expanding internationally. And the main focus in our platform are three modules, which is failure prediction, underperformance detection, and maintenance optimization. And quickly looking into how it works, and without going into too much detail, usually we collect the data that's coming from different data sources. So the sensors are already installed in the machines. We use SCADA systems, so the normal operational sensors that are installed. Combine this with weather data and sometimes with high frequency vibration sensors, etc. And then we have different modeling techniques in our backend based on AI, based on normal behavior modeling, and also physics-based modeling. And they play together, and they automatically give out results to our clients that they can see in the dashboard that you can see down in the right-hand corner. So if you want to see a video of the dashboard, you can just scan this QR code. What we're doing is basically we give the client the opportunity to zoom in from a very global view into the actual wind farm, into the turbine, and then into each component, and then really analyze each component separately, giving these predictive analytics. And what a client really gets from us is that we reduce the OPEX of about 50%. We've shown this on over 5,500 turbines so far, or 5,500 assets. And this avoids, we do this by avoiding a lot of unplanned downtime. And this is a lot of money that's actually saved. In addition, we generate new money. So you can have up to 15% more energy production due to our underperformance detection algorithms. And this is basically due to the failure predictions and underperformance detections, where we predict up to 12 months in advance. And we've shown this, that we have a 99% accuracy with this. Quickly about our business model, we have a software as a service solution, so it's all licensing modeling. We're working with some of the biggest energy utilities and generally companies worldwide. So we're expanding globally. Our traction, as you can see in this page, goes back to many years of research that we've done before founding the company. And then also our product launch in 2019, where we then went to the market with the first client. Regarding our portfolio, we work with the major energy, or let's say turbine producers worldwide. So you can see that we actually work with over 17 manufacturers and 53 models. So we know basically everything that is currently on the market. And regarding to our competition, we're giving way more detailed insights into the actual component health and the actual, let's say the status of the components. So we're able to give here actionable results, and not only say, will we have a problem in the machines, but also going into detail, where is the problem, what has caused the problem, how should we repair it, and when should we repair it. So this is basically ANEA in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer questions later, and you can contact me. Just as a quick recap, 50% less OPEX with ANEA, 15% more energy production due to our 12 months predictions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mike. So you can just unmute yourself if you have any questions, or write them in the chat. We will read them out for you. Are there any questions to Mike? Okay, then maybe I'll start. So what do you? There's one question. I will follow up with my question. How much do you want to raise? Someone asking.
Yes, so we've in the beginning of the year we've closed the funding round, and we're now starting to fundraise next year. In the beginning of next year, we're looking into around about 3 to 4 million, which is currently still under construction, the constraints of the round, but this will be more or less the raising amount.
Okay. Another question which came up to me was, what is the makeup of your team at ANEA?
Yeah, we're 14 people at the moment. Of course, we have a big part of these 14 people are tech people, let's say software developers, data scientists, machine learning experts, etc. And we also have people in marketing and sales, of course, and that's more or less the makeup of the team.
All right. Then maybe one question from me. So what is your plan for the next 5 years? What do you think is like the biggest hurdle right now, or the biggest pain point you have to overcome?
Our plan is to expand in the renewable energy sector. So we want to be the #1 software solution for renewables. We're currently expanding quite a bit. And yeah, this is going to be now our scale-up phase, let's say. We've managed to enter markets outside of Europe already. And we want to there, yeah, scale more and grow more. Exactly. But we're going to stay in the renewable energy sector. So this is our main sector. And there we want to, we're doing wind, solar, and now starting hydrogen, but we want to include all the renewable energy technologies in our platform.
All right, I got 2 other questions. So what is the biggest challenge you're facing currently? I mean, maybe you.
The biggest challenge we're facing currently, let's say, is that we're scaling, but of course we have to onboard all the clients, etc. So we have to now start since all this the sales process, etc. goes towards scaling and onboarding a lot of clients. We have to now start recruiting people and getting more workforce to get all the work done. Let's say.
All right, and then one last question that got sent to me is your focus rather on wind or also on solar energy?
Yes, we started in wind, but last year or 1.5 years ago, we started to develop also for solar energy. So now we're focused on both, and it's a combination. Many of our clients have both solar and wind assets, so we combine these.
All right, thank you very much, Mike, and thank you also for the questions. Then we will hand over to the next startup, which is Invinia. And Fabian Schad, I see you already in the call. He is the Chief of Staff and will present the next startup to you. The stage is all yours.
Perfect, thank you. So if you can hear me, and you should now also see my screen, and I think then we're good to go. Perfect. So what's the problem that we are trying to solve with Invinia? So where we coming from is basically, where is the biggest energy consumption happening in Germany, and that is business sectors or real estate properties, so to say. So not the private sector, so not house owners or private people, but a lot of the energy that is produced is also consumed in the industry, small, medium-sized companies, and that's where we're looking at. And these businesses are under pressure from various sides. So we all agree in a sense that climate change is one of the biggest topics that we're facing right now. We have a lot of regulations within the EU or also within Germany that solar PV on the roofs is going to be mandatory, or already is mandatory at some points in Germany, and that also reporting wise, there is a lot of pressure for businesses to show that they are sustainable. And one solution they come up with is that they potentially have real estate assets or buildings, so to say, with a roof that is free that they could use to install a PV plant. But once businesses try to look into it, they're faced with like loads and loads of different challenges. So is the property suitable? We have to do static examinations. What about taxes if we run a PV plant? All the profitability, cash flow calculations, validations. How do we structure a project like this? How do we finance a project like that? What is actually CO2 savings? What's the impact that we have on all sorts of different things? And that is just so far outside the core business of any other company that they probably need to hire 1, 2, 3 people to actually full-time manage things like this. So this is where we come in, because we want to show that there's an easy solution and make it radically easy for businesses to get their green impact done, and not just stand there and feel overwhelmed that they cannot do anything, or that it's too expensive and that it's not worth it. So what's the solution that we provide is, at the end of the day, we take care of everything for the client. So a client can come to us, say, we want to have renewable energy from our rooftops, and we take care of everything. So minimal effort for the client, maximum effect, just as the usual. So, and what you see in the background is actually one of the biggest projects that we've almost finished now. That's already 1.5 megawatts built. It's going to 1.8 once it's finalized, close to Hanover. And that is just to show you that there's already movement in the market. We started with way smaller roofs, and now actually get a lot of traction already on the big rooftops as well. And to dive in, what we actually can offer to a client is that if you want to buy a PV plant, of course you can do that. You can come to us, we structure the whole thing, we plan it, we do all the technicalities, and then it's yours. But then you also have to take care of what we just heard, operations and maintenance. And that is something that's something costly, that's something that takes a lot of time. And that is also something that is not the core business of anyone that has a logistics company with warehouses, for example. So what we also offer is lots of different things. We can create joint ventures to run the plants and take care of operations. We can also structure roof lease deals that we leave the roof from the clients, we build the plants, we run the plants, we take care of everything that's going on with grid connections, with legal paperwork, and all the static examinations and everything, so that we can actually offer a whole bandwidth of energy as a service solutions as well. So you want cheap energy, especially with the development in the last 12 months, we can offer a solution. You just have to provide a roof. That's the basic thing that we can come up with. And the newest one that we can offer is basically tailor-made for investment funds, is a sale and lease back concept, because that is something specific to the German market. If you run a PV plant and you sell energy, you have a certain tax infraction of your fund, because then you're suddenly an energy producer and you need to pay taxes on the energy you're selling. So with this, what we're trying to create is the easiest way for businesses to get renewable energy from the assets they already have. So what that means at the end is also that we take care of the whole ecosystem around it. We talk to the suppliers of all the components. We get the funding capital for whatever plant we're doing. We take care of the whole processes and certifications. And then we also connect all this into the offerings that I just presented, so that all stakeholders and also green investors can participate and move this topic forward. Because what we as a whole want to achieve is that there's a easy way to get green energy throughout the whole country. So there's no boundary on financing sides or whatever. So we want to move forward. The transition is energy wise, and also for the companies, that we can provide them with the energy they need. And that is the easiest way that we found, is just to deliver it from A to Z, the whole thing. So that's what we are offering, is a one-stop shop, so to say. And we've proven that for the last 4 years. We have over 50 projects. We save more than 15,000 tons of CO2 over the last years. We have years of experience in the market. We have by now over 40 partners in our network already. So we are trying to grow this ecosystem around us and really become a utility, but of the new kind, not a centralized utility as you know them, but with the roofs that are available in the German market. We want to achieve big things in the future, so that the energy that we are using, or especially that the businesses are using, is produced where it's needed. And that is the big goal that we're working towards. And I think with that, I'm happy for questions, or if you want to reach out afterwards, feel free.
Thank you very much, Fabian. So same concept. If you have any questions, just unmute yourself or write them in the chat. So maybe I start. So what is maybe your typical client? So who comes to you typically and wants your service?
So it's a little bit twofold. On the one side, we have industrial clients and logistic clients that have big halls, either warehouses or production halls, where they have a lot of unused space on the roof. And over the last years, as the energy prices went up, they see the need to change that on a cost perspective and also from an ESG perspective to get clean energy into their production. And on the other side, we have real estate investors or real estate funds that own really large sites across the country, and that they usually flip the properties in 5 to 10 years approximately. But a PV plant, just the business case runs for 20 years or 20 to 30 years. And that is one big market that we're looking at right now, is to provide them a solution where they can flip the properties without having to care about the solar plant on the roof, which is then part of the asset. So that is something that we worked out with them in the last couple of months. And those are basically the biggest ones that we're looking at right now.
Okay, thank you very much for answering that.
I do have a follow-up question. Thanks for the interesting pitch, Fabian. Can you show us maybe or tell us a bit more about your roadmap? What are your next steps looking like? And maybe from a timeline perspective, the upcoming 6 months.
Yes, sure. To frame that a little bit, we just raised our Series A last month. So we've already have that ticked off for us. And for the next 6 months, we're really looking to expand our technology side. Right now, we're really good in the financing concepts and the construction and planning of the PV plants. But at the end, we also want to leverage the technology side. We want to create a platform that connects the whole ecosystem that I just showed, not just through us physically, but also on the technology side. That is what we're aiming at, to get the right people on board until the end of the year.
All right, thank you.
I received a follow-up question from Selina. She's asking about your revenues and your revenue streams. What have you achieved in terms of revenues so far?
We were able to create more than 20 million euros of revenue last year. And for the past 4 years, that meant a doubling in revenues every year. And we're also aiming to double it this year. So we're close to aiming at 50 million this year, and also scale that over the next 3 and 4 years. So we have quite an ambitious goal for 2025, which, if I'm not mistaken, is around 250 million euros in revenues. And so far, I mean, the market and the whole industry is working towards us, but we also face challenges as everybody else with the global supply chain that might hinder us. But that's what we're aiming at, and we're standing quite clearly on our goal for this year.
All right, there's another question in the chat. So to offer an end-to-end solution, you will need a group of experts in different areas, be it finance, maintenance, and also compliance. Is your staff all like solely internal hired, or do you also outsource?
Let's say we have 95% internal. We do give away a lot of the static examination because we cannot do this. We need certified static experts, for example. But what we do have in-house is the whole financing expertise. We have that in-house. We also have electricians and engineers in-house for all the planning and construction. And also on the construction side, we have our own staff that we supply with some outsourced people as well to actually go on the roofs and build the plants. But the key people for all of these steps are in-house. And that's what we're also trying to do with the technology development that we're looking at. So we want to be able to have it in-house and actually be in control of the whole process for our clients.
All right, and then maybe the last question, how big is your current team?
I think as of July 1st, we have 65 people on the payroll. So, and at the beginning of the year, I think we were around 50. And so we're looking quite good to be around 80 people at the end of the year. So we do have a lot of contracts in the pipeline to support the growth that we're looking at. And so far, really happy that we can get the people also to join us here.
All right. So if there aren't any further questions, I would say thank you very much to you and also to Emilia and to Fabian. And then I will hand over to CEO and co-founder Tobias Wagner from ChargeX. Tobias, I already see you. So maybe, yeah, just
yes.
And start.
Perfect. Thank you for the introduction, Clara. It's a pleasure to be here today and to pitch our startup. My name is Toby. I'm CEO and co-founder of ChargeX. We are a Munich-based technology startup. In the next 5 minutes, I'm going to pitch you like how we're going to unlock the whole potential of the e-mobility and EV charging market. So I switched to electric cars already 6 years ago when I was still a poor student and bought my first electric car. And back then it was always pretty obvious to me that electric cars are the future and battery electric vehicles especially. But back then, the biggest issue was definitely charging. It was not fun when you arrived at a charging station because there are not enough of them. And if you arrive at one, they're normally occupied by other electric cars. And that was a problem back then, but it's still the same thing right now and also in the future. So EV charging is the biggest barrier in this place. So we ask the question, why are there not enough charging stations out there? And to make this clear, it's not the demand because they're coming more and more electric cars onto the market and the delivery times for cars are super long. So the demand is definitely there, so for 100%. But the two main bottlenecks are definitely a lack of skilled labor and electricians because you always need a technician to install all those charge points. And as you know, it's difficult to get one in the private space. So it's also difficult for EV charging. And the second barrier is our power grid because our grid is not made for charging all those cars at the same time. So currently grid operators don't allow any more charge points. And this results in a really small output of installed charge points. And that's a big issue that we need to solve. And we thought pretty simple for finding a solution there. Maybe you're at home right now or in your office. And if you have a look under your desk, there's maybe one power outlet. But you have several devices, for example, an iPhone, a laptop, or a printer that needs to be plugged in. But you would never even consider calling an electrician to install a second power outlet. You would always use a power strip. That's the most obvious solution. And we transferred this simple concept to EV charging in a little bit more sophisticated way and develop the aqueduct charging system. So that's the first multi-socket for EV charging. And it's actually pretty simple. So you only need one power outlet and then the electrician can install the first starting module. And that's the first charge point for your electric car. But then you can easily install additional extension modules with our patented plug-and-play system. So that's really super easy to set up a whole charge port in a really short period of time. And yeah, it just takes around about 60 seconds to install a fully equipped charge point for your electric car. And actually the record that we did is just 15 seconds. So it doesn't get any easier than that. And that's definitely the biggest competitive advantage we have in the market. So a janitor or facility manager can install that in the future. So we validated our solution already. We have more than 3,000 charge points installed. So those are the nice installations. I also like them, but I personally prefer the dirty ones where the electrician just slaps it on the wall. And this installation here with 8 charge points took just 1 or 2 hours to be installed. And that's doesn't get any easier than that. And that shows the scalability of our product here. But as I mentioned in the beginning, it's not only the skilled labor that is a big bottleneck, but it's also our power grid that is just limited and you can't charge all the cars at the same time. So that's why we developed a digital interface for our EV drivers and we call it the Drop Power Sharing app. That's your digital charging card, so you can start a charging station and can monitor it if you want to. But the thing is, we transferred the limitations of the power grid with a limited availability of priority tokens that you have in your app wallet. So you have tokens in there and you can use them for prioritized charging. If you want to have more range or if you want to leave earlier, then you can invest them with our system, but you can also save them for the future if you want to be more flexible and you don't need any range right now. So if you're searching for a blockchain use case that actually makes sense, here it is. And that's why we developed the priority token system for our aqueduct charging system. Yes, pricing is important, that you know what are the costs. So the starter kit costs just 4,000 euros. Then you can extend it with our extension kit for just 1,000 euros. And the app is basically for free. But if you want to have all the functionality, especially for business operators, then you have a monthly fee of 25 euros in place here. And as I mentioned in the beginning, there are two bottlenecks, but we don't solve them because no one can solve them in this short period of time. Our system and our company is just taking the most use out of it and the biggest advantage out of it. So we can install millions of charge points, even though we don't have the electricians and even though our grid is limited, with our technology in place that we already validated. Yeah, we started in 2018 and started with the vision of building a scalable charging system. Then in 2021, we closed our Series A fundraising round with 4.5 million euros. And now in 2022, we have 40 people and have more than 3,000 charge points installed, and already looking forward to our Series B fundraising round, because the timing for our venture is just perfect, because everyone's talking about e-mobility, and that's why we are here and we have a good answer to all the biggest problems we have right now. My name is Toby, CEO and co-founder. If you have any questions regarding our venture, regarding our vision, or in general about EV charging, just drop me a message or ask them right now after the pitch. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, Tobias, for this very interesting pitch. I already received the first question from Alexander. Is it for a private use or also for public areas?
It's mainly targeted for private use and semi-public usage. So it's perfectly made for companies that want to charge their own fleet or want to offer it to their employees, or for the residential areas where we want to charge all those cars in the shared underground parking garages in urban areas. But it's not typically made for public charging because there you normally use a higher charging rate and DC fast chargers. We are focusing on the 90% of charging processes that are happening in a private space.
Okay. And maybe one question from me, do you focus on Germany or also on the whole European market? Where do you stand there?
So right now, typically we started in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland and have installations there, but we're currently expanding within Europe to France and to the UK, because those are the two markets that have a high EV adoption. So it's also good for our solution. So we go step by step and starting our European expansion this year.
Perfect, thank you. Are there any more questions to Tobias? All right, that's not the case. Thank you very much again to ChargeX. And yeah, I will hand over to the next startup, to Magnotherm. And Sarah is already in the call. And perfect, we can see your slide. Sarah, stage is all yours.
Perfect. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Thank you for the kind introduction. My name is Sarah Quehl, and I'm representing the company Magnotherm today. Magnotherm deals with cooling solutions, and we are developing novel cooling systems. And this is actually very important because in the future, we are going to need a lot of more refrigeration. So many numbers say that we are increase the number of installed ACs by 6.4 until 250. And this leads to an ether warming world. So with cooling, we are constantly warming our world because we use a lot of electricity and emit a lot of CO2 into the atmosphere. Magnotherm is working on this issue in two areas. On the one side, the room temperature refrigeration, meaning the classic systems you know. There we are looking for the supermarkets as a beachhead markets, where we're going to develop a plug-in device and then moving to AC. On the other side, we are looking at really, really cold refrigeration. We are looking at hydrogen liquefaction. And I will go in further detail why especially this is important and why refrigeration will be a key enabler for a net zero company. So let's look at the hydrogen infrastructure. What we need to produce hydrogen is a lot of electricity. And we know how to do this in a green net zero way. If we want to bring back the electricity from the hydrogen, we can use fuel cells, which also have a high efficiency. We also know how to do that too. Then how to produce green hydrogen. Electrolyzers are being developed, and we're hearing that more and more systems are being installed all around the world. But really all around the world is a problem here. In Europe, we will not have enough green electricity in order to produce the green hydrogen that we will need for our industry demand. So in order to actually get the hydrogen, we need to transport it in some way. And this is very inefficient currently. Other than other fossil fuels, hydrogen has a very low energy density in terms of volume. So if we want to transport it, we need to liquefy it and then transport it through pipelines or boats. But in the liquefaction process, we are currently using traditional technology, which is highly inefficient. So most refrigeration technologies today rely on the gas vapor compression cycle, where we compress and expand gases in order to make it warm and cold. So currently we are using around 20% of global electricity for cooling and heating, blowing out 8% of all the global greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. This is actually more than the whole air traffic. We at Magnotherm are developing a novel technology which produces zero direct emissions and has 40% higher energy efficiency. It relies on the magnetocaloric materials, which are magnetized and demagnetized to cool down and heat up. So with this technology, we can save up to 2 gigatons of CO2 in the classical room temperature refrigeration until 2030, and around 200 megatons in the area of hydrogen liquefaction. But think about that this technology will only start to kick off after 2030, and the hydrogen economy is just starting to take place. Magnotherm consists of several team members. I myself, I'm a mechatronic engineer, but we have a bright variety of the disciplines from mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, chemistry, physics, product designer, business developers, and so on. I got into Magnotherm through a student job, followed by an internship, and now working as an engineer at the company dealing with electronics and software. Magnotherm also won several prizes so far. Magnotherm was founded after over 20 years of basic research in lanthanum iron silicon and magnetic recycling, when in 2017, Max and Timur were preparing a spin-off from university. It all started when we get an exist grant of 1.1 million euros and they founded our company at the end of 2018. Since then, we have developed a highly functional prototype to test materials and the technology. We have launched 2 scientific devices. We got 1 patent granted and released our first commercial beverage cooler, Polaris, which we upscaled the production this year. Additionally, we had around 600K of pre-seed investment. We moved into new facilities last year and we won the prestigious EIC Accelerator Prize, and currently raising our seed round of around 4 million euros. We will enter the market with room temperature refrigeration with our device Polaris, which we currently only do in rentals, but we will do a commercial launch at the end of the year. We will upscale our production and certification next year. In 2024, we will launch our supermarket displays, which will be a large cooling displays for the supermarket. So if you're interested in us, please follow us to become a global leader in net zero refrigeration. And Max, our founder, is also on the call, and we are happy to receive your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for this interesting pitch. Are there any questions for Sarah or for Max? Then maybe one question from my side. What would you say is like the biggest hurdle right now? Would you say that the fact that the market is still in its early phase, or what is something you have to deal with right now?
One of the biggest hurdles is the supply chain, actually. So getting in all of the materials we need is one of the biggest hurdles currently, but in total, it's actually replacing a well-known technology and really being disruptive in terms of technology. It's actually quite hard to do that, and we seldomly see that a technology which is already very, very old is replaced, but we see that it's possible. I mean, the combustion engine is being replaced. We saw that in the talk before. It's replaced by fully electric vehicles, and I think the same will be true for many cooling solutions which are going to be replaced.
All right, thank you very much.
Maybe a question from my side. Can you tell us a bit more about your target group and your first clients that you approached, and also your sales strategy in terms of that?
Yes, so we mainly sell to supermarket owners or supermarket chains. They are interested in our technology just because of cost savings, basically. Through our technology, we can offer lower operational costs, but also lower service costs. And that's what really drives the supermarket. We are also selling, or we will also sell these small scale products. They're kind of a marketing instrument and are, let's say, for the techie audience a little bit, and for the, let's say, green early adopter.
All right. Okay, if there aren't any further questions, I would say thank you very much to you both and to Magnotherm. And then I will hand over to our last pitch to Will from Honeycomb. Hello, Will. Happy that you're in the
Hello.
call.
Brilliant. Thank you. I'll just share my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Hopefully you can see that all okay.
Yes, we can see it.
Great. Firstly, thank you for having me here today. It's great to be able to speak at this event. So I'll jump straight in. Private e-scooters are the future of urban transport, yet our cities fail to support them. Hello, everyone. My name is William, and I'm a CFO and co-founder at Honeycomb Network. And we're establishing a network of smart charging lockers for private e-scooters towards the vision of decarbonizing urban transport. Oops. Transport is the second largest emitting sector in the EU, and 44% of that comes from passenger cars. E-scooters, however, provide a clean, cheap, and convenient alternative for short car journeys, particularly as over 70% of trips are under 5 miles. There are already over 2.5 million private e-scooter users in France, which is fantastic, but they are left without any public charging or storage. Our surveys indicate that most users fear their scooters will run out of charge on their trips, and 89% worry they will not have secure storage at their destinations. To solve this, we are establishing a network of universal smart charging locker pods for private e-scooters. Through our mobile app, e-scooter users can access our network of secure pod sites available across cities at their offices, gyms, and favorite shops. Our universal charging tech and intelligent battery diagnostics enable the charging of any e-scooter, eliminating the stress and need of the user to carry their charger with them. This universal charging system also allows us to implement smart charging protocols to reduce battery degradation, which can improve lifetimes by up to 100%, reducing the user's replacement costs and lithium battery waste. All of this is housed inside of our secure modular pods, which take advantage of the foldability of e-scooters, which minimizes the space required for storage. We've developed and tested a prototype of our pods in February, where we proved our USP features like the universal controlled charging with remote access, but also charging multiple scooters simultaneously and independently. The private scooter-focused design of our modular and adaptable pods makes Honeycomb the most practical solution on the market, whilst also our universal smart charging with IoT connectivity also makes it the smartest offering compared to competitors. E-scooters emit 98% fewer emissions than cars over the same distance, and our technology can improve this by prolonging the battery lifetimes with our smart charging. Our main impact, however, comes from the network of Honeycomb pods empowering an urban transport modal shift away from private cars towards private e-scooters, which for Paris can reduce CO2 emissions by over 25,000 tons per year. Private e-scooters are clearly a sustainable form of transport, but they also provide socio-economic benefits as they are affordable and easy to use, making them perfect for those from lower socio-economic backgrounds. On top of this, they help people access active transport, and most would agree that they are very fun to use. Our business model is simple. We'll install a network of open access Honeycomb pods across cities at car parks, supermarkets, and more, which can be used by e-scooter owners via subscription or a pay-as-you-go scheme. Alternatively, landowners can lease exclusive Honeycomb pods sites for their own use, whether it's for their corporate e-scooters, fleets, or even as a perk for their e-scooter using tenants. We'll go to market by launching a pilot in Paris, where micromobility is booming. There are currently 2.5 million private e-scooter owners in France, which is expected to go to 3.6 million by 2025. And by entering France and Paris as the beachhead market presents a market opportunity worth 335 million euros. Expanding across Europe and then globally will allow us to access markets worth 1.2 and 11 billion euros. Since incorporation in 2021, we have completed an Innovate UK and Officer Zero Emission Vehicles grant project to develop our proof of concept. We've been awarded 2 further grants to develop an e-bike solution. We're accepted into accelerators and incubators, including the Greenhouse, Geovation, EIT Urban Mobility, and recently Urban Lab in Paris. And we've closed a pre-seed investment round of €153,000 with SFC Capital. Before the end of this year, we will have CE and UK certified e-scooter pods, with patents filed ready for commercial launch in Paris. We are a group of graduate engineers from Imperial College London with expertise in large grid-scale energy storage, battery research, and entrepreneurship. We have a large support network of experienced advisors and mentors who are helping us achieve our mission and compensate our gaps of expertise. We are now raising a seed investment round of €1.5 million to expand our operations and launch our pilot network across Paris. We are a young and passionate team with the dream of decarbonising urban transport, and your support will help us achieve this. Thank you for listening. I'll now welcome any questions.
Thank you very much, Will. Does someone has any question to Will? Just feel free to unmute yourself or write them in the chat. Okay, so maybe then I'll start with one question. So you said you focus on private scooters. Do you also think about pairing up with the rental ones, or will you firstly just start with the private ones?
Our focus is on the private scooters. There are a few reasons for that. Firstly, we see it as being a larger market opportunity in the fact that, so for example, I said 2.5 million in France. What I believe is in Paris, in that greater region of Paris, there are 15,000 rental scooters. So it's slightly less known about, but there is a greater market for private e-scooters, and we believe that. But also, one of the stronger reasons is the fact that we see, and what is shown by research, is that private e-scooters are more sustainable than rental ones. A lot of research has shown that rental scooters are either carbon neutral or net positive. And that is mostly down to the fact of the logistics of recharging them when they go around and pick them up in vans and so on, but also how they're treated and how most often they actually replace very short journeys like walking journeys, as opposed to, for example, a journey that they would make by car. And that's why we think private e-scooters are better, and that's why we want to tackle that. And then lastly, it's a lot of the other competitors that provide storage and charging infrastructure for scooters have focused on the rental markets. And the main reason is the fact it's simpler. The charging of them is far more simple because the connectors are very similar, the batteries are all the same, and it's less of a problem as compared to tackling the private market. So yeah, that's our strategy.
I would have another question. In terms of like intermodality, do you plan to incorporate that into your business model, or also team up or make a partnership with public transport or corporates in that regard?
Yes, we haven't thought too much as to how we would partner with kind of enforcing any intermodality, but we would hope, for example, train stations, we would see that as a prime location for where we want to store our scooters. We do kind of see, though, that with private e-scooters, the natural journey habits of those users is that they would go from journey, start to end destination. So it's less of intermodality, but we still believe in using that, especially when making longer journeys. For example, if you're going to a train station and then traveling across the country, that's perfect for them, and we hope to be able to promote that down the line. If we can, with our mobile app, be able to help people plan journeys such that they can use their e-scooter for those intermodality, then that would be perfect. But yeah, I think that's down the line, we'll develop that tech.
All right, so if there aren't any questions left, I'll say thank you very much, Will, for this very interesting pitch.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so with this, we reach our end right now. I will kindly ask you to take part of this poll, which just helps us to improve this format. And also let you know that our next Icebreaker will happen in September. Just you can stay tuned in our social media, also So check out Neosphere and Impact Challenge, Impact Festival, apply for Impact Festival, and yeah, just stay connected with us.